something I always have tied on everywhere we go in the country. It doesn't matter if it's New York, Florida, Texas, no matter where, I always have a squarebill tied on. And there's several reasons for that. Number one is it's a confidence bait for me. I know that I can cover water, especially shallow water. I know I can do it effectively, get some bites.
The new Salmo Floating 5 Squarebill really helped me this year on tour. In particular, the third stop of the season at Lake Seminole. I was fishing an isolated grass bed. I really beat those fish up after the first 2 days. I was really looking for something a little bit more erratic, a little bit more dancing. I tied on the Salmo Floating 5 Squarebill and was really able to trigger more bites after those fish had been beat up. This bait has a credible, erratic action. It really came off the top of the hydrilla really well.
When I reach for a squarebill, it's typically starting in the springtime, which is when I'll stick with the Demon Craw color by Salmo. It's a great color, especially in kind of dirtier water, dirtier, cool water specifically, you know, when they're really feeding heavily on crawfish. And then as the bass transition into the post-spawn phase, that's when I'll reach for other colors like chartreuse black, chartreuse blue, the greenback herring color. I really like those, you know, when the bass get off the beds. In the dirtier water, when it warms up, it gets hot, and those fish really start keying in on brim and other things, you know, with a lot of color.
There's a few times a year I really like to throw the Salmo Squarebill. In particular is pre-spawn, you know, early in the year, the water's still cold. I like those things around grass, you know, particularly hydrilla or eelgrass. The bait has a real wide wobble. It comes out of that grass really well. Will trigger those big pre-spawn fish into biting. And also, you know, as we're getting up later in the year, the water's warming up, you can really beat this bait off wood really well. Wood, rock, anything to really get that good reaction bite and put another fish in the boat.
I really like to treat it kind of like a four-wheel drive. You know, I throw it in the thickest part of the cover. What I like to do is reel it, you know, at a steady pace, and when I hit something that deflects, I like to pause it. Probably 90% of the strikes I have is when I hit something with this bill of the bait. The foam body design of this lure allows it to float up perfectly when I pause the bait. That's when most of my strikes occur.
The Squarebill is really unique from anything else on the market. It's got a real wide body in the front, a really wide bill. It's gonna make it dance very erratically, and it's also gonna help it come off cover even better. You know, versus having a tight wobble, that real wide wobble coming off wood is gonna walk over the wood. Coming off grass, it's gonna deflect the grass blades off and help you trigger that next bite.
It's been one of my best kept secrets on tour. Guys will start figuring it out. Check them out at your local tackle store or online at salmousa.com.